Good evening, guys. Counter Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for November 29th, 2023. Start with the hybrid swing. Let me take this moment to say all the foundations people and everybody within the sound of my voice is invited to this room at 9 a.m. Central on Sunday morning. We're going to listen to Bill Scheit's presentation. He has a presentation on his modified blended monthly rebalancing system and an adaptive swing system. He's going to present two different chunks. He's got them uploaded in the Research 2023 workshop. I've previewed them. They're so good that I want all the foundations folks to listen and participate in the Q&A. And if you're not a foundations course person or a Research 2023 person, you're invited to listen. We'd ask you to just maintain a respectful silence or consider getting a workshop if you want to ask questions. But it's really an excellent approach to long-term trading that's built on our principles. I've been coaching him on this for 15 years, and he really has done a nice job. Friday at 2 p.m., I'm going to do a Q&A with Jim Carroll of Ballast Rock money management firm, and he's going to be presenting a volatility breakout system. Now, he's already uploaded the presentation and the supporting material into the Research 2023 under the tab for his lesson. So we're going to be doing a Q&A session. He's modeled that on the principles of Bill and Jeff's PRX swing system, and he's using this in his professional money management practice, and he's going to show us the system and the results, and we have a chance to do some Q&A with him. So that presentation is already uploaded in the Research 2023 workshop for you to review, and you can send me your questions now if you have them. We're starting to go through the Q&A sessions now of the research now that the guys are getting them uploaded. So many more to come, and I'll keep you posted with a master calendar, but I wanted to give you a heads up for those two. That's Sunday at 9 a.m. in this room, and then next Friday, December 8th at 2 p.m. So there we are. All right, so we'll get rolling now with Alcoa on the 30-minute charts. This is the advanced hybrid swing. So this is where it closed yesterday. Here was the gap up. It continued to move out, so we put a standard risk box to protect, and it ran all the way up to here, beyond 27, and then sold off to here. So I collected about 0.8. You might have done better. Like if you'd put in a trailing 1 hour stop, you probably would have gotten a better exit than me, but I took the 0.8. It sold off all the way down here to the Bollinger Band mean, then took off. I did a 1, 2, 3 entry. Same risk box. This thing ran up, rolled over. I took the exit at the edge of the dragon for about another 0.8. So that netted me about 1.6 on Alcoa and no overnight risk. And then it closed right about where it has been, so there was no advantage to that. This is simply harvesting some of the froth in Alcoa. AI. So yesterday we had this caught a 2 entry that closed well. Today it gapped up, sold off, started to resume. So I added a second position here. It ran all the way up to the top, and as it came down to here, I took the exit at the VWAP on both positions. So the first one earned 1, 2, 3, 4. This one earned maybe 1. So that's about 5R on that overnight play in AI. And it closed pretty well. The fact that it closed here, which is well above these resistance levels, tells me that there's a good chance of some more joy tomorrow. So it's on my short list. Amazon tried the 1, 2, 3 in the mid-afternoon, and it scratched, went nowhere. Caterpillar, no trade, just choppy. Cliff, no trade. I missed. I thought about this one as a 1, 2, 3 in midday, didn't take it, and then regretted. CVS, beauty. Oh, collapsing dragon all day. So when it fell, it gapped to here, broke down here, sold off, came up, sold off again, took the added a second position, and then cashed everything here for 4R on the first one, 2R on the second one, total of 6R, no overnight risk. Disney. Yesterday had the collapsing dragon with a second position, and it closed really poorly. Today it opened, monkeyed around, and started resuming or recovering. I front run that a little bit here and took the exit right there for about 3R on this one and 2R on that one. That's about a 5R. And it had a nice recovery and sell off. So this is in a zero state, ready to go hard in either direction tomorrow. Perfect setup for a zero state trade for tomorrow. Dish Network. I missed this run up in the morning. It opened here. It broke the PSAR right here. And this is what it did in the first 3 minutes. It ran all the way up to here, sold off all the way to here, and then ran up again. It's just so inexpensive. This volatility is just pushing it around. I still don't like it, but man, it is making some roller coaster moves. Too rich for my blood right there. Devon Energy, I tried the COTA 2 and scratched. No follow through. Electronic Arts, COTA 2 paid off with 1R. Standard exit at the skin of the dragon. That's, again, after it rolls over. When it peaks and then this rolls over, then I activate this exit at the skin of the dragon. And I've been really happy with that decision. Maybe this was a little better than 1R. Dragon skin exit. Far side of the hill. Emerging markets, I took the supported fall crossing, took the skin of the dragon for about 1/3 of an R. Ethereum, I closed the long position, was going nowhere. Mexico, no trade, I missed the afternoon fail. Brazil, I took the supported fall crossing. I was over an R in hand and managed to get out of it with a scratch. Just poor attention to detail on that one. I thought about this one, but I was not in a zero state. I felt I was chasing the trade, and then I didn't take it, and then had an extra scoop of regret. Intel, this is a gap and go. So, by which I mean, it opened here, sold off, then resumed. I bought the new high of the day here. It ran up, drifted higher. Then when this R10 rolls over, I activate the exit at the skin of the dragon, and that's about a 0.8. IP, beauty. This is another gap and go. So it cleared. This is an emerging dragon on the gap up. So we buy it. It does this. Closes very well. I made a decision here to hold it overnight. I would not be offended if you took the exit because it's holding 3. This is plus 4R right there. And so I've got my stop organized for right there. But I have hopes for that one tomorrow. I'm looking for a gap up on that one. IP, international paper, fellas. Real estate, gap and go. That's one that it gave back all of the initial gains, got out of it with a fraction. Coke, short. I'm holding this one overnight, about an R in hand. This is a PSAR flip. It's on the wrong side of the river, which was rolling over. So I like the fact that the river is sloping down, dragon is sloping down, the RL30 sloping down. That's basically an owl entry short. Why? Because we had a successful trade, then the PSAR flip, the dragon rolled over, the RL30 rolled over, and we're on the south side of the Bollinger Band mean. Owl entry short, and going to hold that overnight with 1R in hand. Regional banks, huge gap up. I finally got a position on and cashed an R when it started to stall. Mattel, yesterday's emerging dragon continued to just grind higher today, so we got 2R in hand, and I'm going to let that ride. McDonald's took the collapsing dragon short for an R. I held that one longer than I might have. Like, you could reasonably get out in here after the R10 rolls over. I was hoping it would fail more, but it didn't. So an R. Merck took the SSC stop and reverse. So we were short one from here. It reversed intraday in the morning. So I covered and then stopped in reverse with an SSC, and that one paid off with an R. I'm holding that overnight. Microsoft, we closed the long position at a scratch. I was late getting into this one short and ended up scratching, so a lot of friction on that one. No trade in marijuana, no trade in NVIDIA. Clean energy, I missed the earlier entry and managed to get out of that with a scratch. There was a lot of things in our list that were doing this today, that quick run up and sharp reversal, so I was not able to squeeze anything out of that one. Rivian, I closed the caught a 2 entry from yesterday. That also featured a big gap up, runaway move to the upside, and took it at the VWAP on the way down, so that one was to 3R. The S&P, that was the same thing. Big gap up and then sell off the rest of the day. That's actually a pretty disappointing close and puts this whole move at risk. This was an effort to make it run, and it did not. It came all the way back to zero, so caution for tomorrow. Treasuries continuing to grind up. Tesla, I closed yesterday's emerging dragon for 3R. Then on the PSAR flip and afternoon weakness, squeezed an R out of it and covered at the Bollinger Band mean. Walmart. We had 2 positions on that one long. It gapped up and then started selling off, so I wanted to keep that in the money. So exited here on the PSAR flip. Thought about that as on the short side. Too late. I felt like I was chasing it, and it continued to fail. This was a big reversal after that beautiful 3-day run up. We got a nice piece of that, but this is problematic. I'm looking at this one as a perfect zero state for tomorrow because it's had buying pressure to take it up. It's had a lot of selling pressure already, and there's still a significant move down to the 5-day low. So that's available on the short side. And there's, an equally likely probability of a strong first move in either direction. And this was such a nice tight compression that sets up what I think of as the perfect little zero state in here. And I'll play the breakout from that. I like that. That'll be action tomorrow. U.S. Steel, the 2-day emerging dragon is continuing to hold. It closed pretty well, resisted the sell-off urges all day, so that feels pretty good. So pretty good work today, I thought, in the hybrid portfolio. All right, so we're into sniper trade of the day now. Excuse me. Alrighty, so here was yesterday's close. Gapped up to here. Sold off a little bit, ran all the way up to here. Sold off and closed here in the first 3 minutes. Opened here and takes out the high. So we are long from here. And that's my MMRB. With my stop right here. If that fails through here, I will be short. I'll take the -1 loss of execution risk because there's 1, 2, 3 on a failure back to yesterday's close. So I'm long here, but I'm willing to stop and reverse. Check or hold? All right, so 2 bars into that thing. Whoops. How did that happen? So our stop is here. You get a nice move up here. It opens, it runs all the way up and closes here. So that gives us this much in hand. So now the question is where to put that stop. I don't believe in going to break even because now I get paid nothing for that. So at a minimum, I would want to be at the no-lose plus dinner for 2 right here. So we'll call that 1. I could say maybe hold the open for 2. So by show of hands, 1 or 2. 1 pretty much 2 locks in a full, looks like about 1R. If you lock that in, that would be plus 1R. This would be about 0.3. Because that's your 1 execution R. So I see a mixed bag between 1s and 2s. Problem solved. So if you were here or here, this was 1 and 2, I think. So it closed here, it opens here, and then does nothing. As soon as that breaks above this high, right here. I think, if you were at 1, you should at least be now here at 3. As this closes here, I could see 4, 5, 6. Where do you have your stop? 5 is halfway up the big candle. And that would be 1, 2. That's about 2R. If you were a 2R battle drill person, you would have put your second position on right here. You could have maybe even front run that a little bit by going here when it broke above this. But that's kind of technically the 2R. And then if this closes there, now maybe 6 is good if you put the second position on, because now your second position is also at no lose plus dinner for 2. So to me, 5 or 6 makes the most sense. Even if you didn't put the second position on, I don't know that I want to give back much more than that. And in that bar, you end up, whatever you had, 5 or 6 ticks you out. If you only play the 1 position, now we're going to take a look at one of those trading rules. So if you're playing lots of trades and you're not trying to micromanage this one, you're above the VWAP the whole way. You got rising lows. This rolls over. Now if you see where the R10 rolls over, when that happens is when I activate the upper skin of the dragon. So you end up getting this exit here. So that's about 2R. Check or hold? Now, I like this one short. What I've got is the dragon has rolled over. The R10 has certainly rolled over. It entered the dragon, exited the dragon, hit the PSAR flip, and now you notice also that you got the VWAP right here. So this entry short is a risk box below the top of the dragon already. The R10 is going from summer to fall. And I've got, 1, 2, 3, 3R to the Bollinger Band mean. That's the reversion to the mean trade. When you talk about reversion to the mean, you could set that as your price target. And then if that fails, this is where I would add a second position. I'm not going to do a 2R battle drill and add a second one here because it's so close to where price action took off. So I would rather see it get below the Bollinger Band mean and below the low of the day. So I would just wait, in this case, to put a second position here instead of automatically taking the 2R battle drill. Check or hold? Oh, I just figured out how to return the sketch. Okay. So notice the converging lines here, while when you put the trade on, your target to the Bollinger Band mean, the middle of the river, is right there. But in the time that it takes the R10 price to move down to here, this thing moves up a little bit. So that's what I'm usually running that forecast, to just say, well, that's what the rational trade looks like, is that it should meet right here. And it happened to meet exactly right there, And then just notice how good this rollover of the dragon is, acting as a shield to keep price from breaching the barbed wire fence. And now you can feel this thing maybe starting to find traction here. So I should be getting ready to stalk this exit, because when the R10 reverses, it's getting ready to reverse. If I get any kind of upward action right here, then this R10 is going to reverse up, which then means I want my stop probably right here. So to me, that's my stop. And that way I preserve that much gain against that much risk. That's about 1.2. And with price right here, I've given it this little wiggle room to fail further. Checker hold. So I'm going to put my stop at the skin of the dragon. And get it a bar later. So this is where let's see. This is where the R10 actually reverses. So you get that stop in here. Should have gone maybe a bar earlier, but that cashes about 1R. Caught a 2. Now the R10 has breached the dragon, crossed the PSAR right in here. I put that tight little wrist box on it. If this fails, I'm going short for sure. And my target would be way back here to yesterday's close. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 to the downside if that fails. But if it doesn't fail, this thing could be testing the VWAP, top of the dragon, top of the R10. Those would be my 3, profit targets to the upside. And that's about 1, 2, 3. So I got about 3R in that direction, about 4R in that direction. That makes this a perfect little critical state. That's the black box. Like, I don't know what it's going to do. But I only have to pay this much entry fee in order to get potential 3 that way and potential 4 that way. So that is a compound critical state. It's trying to hold vicinity, this upward sloping Bollinger Band mean, so that's the argument to the upside. It had a strong move up here, but it also had a strong move there. So those kind of balance each other out. So there's a strong argument for a big move out of this little wrist box in either direction. That is the essence of a compound critical state. Nothing. It's supposed to work. It did not. And it rejected the VWAP. The R10 hit it and reversed hard. So I scratch this. Should I have been short here? Okay, should I have been short right here? Could have. But price is right there. I'll let you get short right there if you want. You want to get short right there? If you get short right there, your stop should still be like right here, above that PSAR. That's your standard risk box. Do you want to get short right there? Yes or no? Yeah, I don't have it on the chart, but this thing sold off sharply like that. Came all the way back to here and held. In fact, if I remember, yeah, this is what that looked like. In fact, this is the price. Oops, sorry. This is where it rejected the R10, came through the dragon. That's where I asked you if you wanted to be short. You all said, most of you said yes. And if your risk box looks like that, you should not lose money on that trade. Like if you take your, when this breaks, that R10 reverses, and you should be getting out somewhere in this region, then you bank about an R. And that would be your trade. Okay. Next one up. This is your here's your close. Here's your gap up. There's your OR3. Closed right there. Next bar, it starts taking off, so you get long here. Standard work. Here's a good problem to have. So we've got we're at about the 2R right there. And we've had a couple really strong pushes. And now this one, we get a small range on the 3 minute, and then it opens right here. And you should be able to see that that is starting to decay. The fact that that range of that bar is smaller compared to this range and this rocket ship move to the upside, that's the first hint that the buying pressure is drying up. So when it opens here, you got to decide where to put your stop. Your stop was here. If you were following the PSAR, your PSAR is right. Your PSAR stop is right there. That's also the southern skin of the dragon. That is the spine of the dragon. 3 is the upper skin of the dragon. 4 is the 2R lock-in, and really like the just below the 1 bar low. So where would you put your stop? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Let's see, 3, 3, 2. So now my question is, do you add a second position here? Okay, if yes, where is your stop? If no, where is your stop? Yeah, if yes, the stop should be 4. If no, you could be, 2 or 3, whatever your original comment was. But if I was putting the second, because this thing is starting to slow down, and if I put that second one on, I only want to give back, I only want to play with that much. So it's got to work right away. Fair enough? And no worries, it worked. Hooray. So those of you that added, let's draw that up. So those of you that added that second position here, and you had a nice tight stop at 4, now you're looking at this position. The R10 is already rolled over. You have your peak price here, but this is the upper, that's the statistically significant one, at the peak of the RL10. And it closed where the previous bar closed, but it made a lower high. So now the question is, where do you put your stop? I think you would agree that you don't want to let that position go negative. So that's sort of the one. That puts this one at no lose plus dinner for 2, right? Two is, probably right there. 1 or 2. Would you put a third position on here? Now you're only, this one, if you were at 2, you'd have that plus all of this on that much risk. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if you saw this, see, at new high of the day, my brother says, to which I would say, look, if my stop is so tight at 2 that I'm only risking that much, why wait to see that much to get a third position on? That's a point of view. Doesn't matter. We all got out where we were supposed to. I didn't put the second position on because I had a number of other things that all did this gap up and go. So I got like one biscuit on each one of them. But this one turned out pretty nice as a 1, 2, 3, probably 3R. So now I'm noticing the VWAP, the Bollinger Band mean, the PSAR. This thing sold off to here, but then has resumed, and now it's opening right here. That's where price is. And now notice that the R10 is poised to recover or to fail, depending on what it does on this way over. So like this run is done, and I've got maybe 3 to 4R of market's money. So, who wants to go short? And who wants to go long? Like if you had to pick one of the, which one do you think is the, what do you think it's going to do? Which way do you want to trade with your impulsive monkey mind? My brother wants to go long. Where do you go long at, my brother? Emerging Dragon? Or new high of the day? Or right now? Like if you were going to get long at 3, why wouldn't you get long at 1? Why not? Do you think that's going to make a difference about whether it works or not? You think like somebody's waiting to see you get long and then they're going to smash it? No, they can't see you. So 1, 2, or 3. And the reason I say that is no matter which one of those you get long at, there's one price that's going to get you out of this trade, right? So you guys all wanted to go long. What if you were going to go short? So let's say here's where the price is, and it starts failing. You tell me to stop when you want to go short, when you're confirmed that it's short. Boom. So the PSAR, or the VWAP, and remember, if the VWAP were to continue to do this, and it just started drifting, we'd still want to be short somewhere in here anyway. So we're just gonna say that as the VWAP, right? So you could get short at 4 or 5 or maybe Bollinger Band mean 6. So where would you get short at? 4, 5, or 6? Right. So now the question is, if I would get short at 4, then clearly my yellow zone is like, that's the 1, 4. If I was going to get long at 2, I'd be out at 4. So my yellow box then looks like that. So that's the 2, 4. This is 1, 4. This is 2, 4. And then if I was going to get long at 3, I'd be getting out at 4, right? So that my box now is 3, 4. My point is that probably this price, no matter whether you got long at 1 or 2 or 3, that had no effect on where you were going to exit, right? And if I look over here, 3, 4 is an MMRB. So here's my point. the act of you getting long at either one of those price levels has no effect on what the actual follow through of the price is going to be, because that there is a huge ocean of buyers and sellers, each lining up with their little buckets of money to buy, and guys wanting to get short and selling and all that stuff. All of those guys clustering around this little action point. They don't see you. So depending on how this whole short-term trader posture is going to resolve, this thing is either going to go boom, like it did here, or it's going to go crash in a mirror image of what it did here, only to the other side, or it's just going to monkey around in here. And we think that the price statistically that's going to make it prone to collapse is 4. So to me, and I'm thinking out loud here, an entry at 1, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take my MMRB, which is a 1.0. And so if I get long here and I exit there, that's only going to be a 0.5 loss. Because my execution risk, my standard was this, which is only 0.2 of a position sizing risk. So this is really not a large risk at all. That's about the lowest risk entry you could make. Now, if you don't agree with that, then you're taking the position that there's some statistical evidence that the probability of failure of 1 versus 2 versus 3 is significant. Don't try to persuade me of that. I think it's noise. I think we're in the noise. Because the top of the noise box is the peak of the RL10 and to the PSAR, so at least 2 is on the edge of noise. The first non-noise move is 3. So this is advanced technique here, and we are genuinely thinking our way alive. So there's 1, 2, 3. Here's 4, 5, 6. I'm betting on 1, 4. And I'm going to commit 1, 2, 3. I get 3R. I'll bank 2, and I'll take 1 and put it on this with markets money. So I'm betting on 1, 4. Place your bets. So I got long here. It failed immediately. I exit here. I count that as a minus 0.5. And because that's my PSAR flip, I already said that's where I was getting short. Take it back here. So I make that to offset that, and I scratch. No loss. Now, I'm also prepared to take this one as a Kata 2. So here's the decision I put to you right now. And you've been hearing me drill this idea. So if I take this as a Kata 2, does everybody see that as a Kata 2? So this thing rolls over, and now price is right here. My exit from the beginning is right here. This is noise. I do not exit here. I'm still north of the VWAP. I'm willing to live with this. And would you be short? If you were long here in the Kata 2 and price hit here, would you be short there on a collapsing dragon? Absolutely, because you got this, this, and this. That's a reinforced Kata 2 short collapsing dragon, and that thing could come all the way down to here. So all I do is sit on my hands. In fact, where I'm stalking is right here. Second position, right there. So when that price is right here, I just sit on my hands, and that's where I'm going to put my second position long, and that's where I'm going to be short. Check or hold. Check or hold. Well, that was pretty nice. Oh, that, yeah, when I move the, yeah. So the 2R, or the second entry, somewhere in there. If you're playing second entry. I just kept one. Can you feel that? Now, this is probably done for the day. It's in the lunchtime. I have almost no interest in trading this anymore. Or did I? I don't know. Oh, I guess I did. Squeezed one more out of it. This is the sniper trade of the day on one position, and one position for 7R. If you played the 2R battle drill, like we said, you squeezed a little more. If you played the 2R battle drill here, you squeezed another 2 or 3R out of that one. Yeah. Summer, fall, summer. Automatic. OR3?
One of the
Go ahead.
that's one of the rules for the 3-9 system is the summer ball summer rule.
Yeah, that
As
works
long as
on
you're
every.
if you're above or below a PSAR, and it's reverse. You know, the winter, spring, winter, or winter, fall, winter. Sorry, go on the downside. That's automatic re-entry or another position.
So that's the mental frame that I have. If that goes there, if that fails to here, if this breaks out, I take the low of the day, add a range step, that's the upper limit. Well, I just learned in accidentally that if you hit that back arrow on the drawing table, it replays the previous sketches. Now, if you move it north or south, the sketch doesn't go with the underlying. But if you haven't moved the underlying image, so anyway. Everybody see that as an OR3 breakout? So good to go. Where do you put your stop? 1, 2, or 3? And price is sitting right here. Two is 1 hour lock in. Standard exit. Caught a 2. Scratch. Done for the day. Thought this was pretty nice. Kevin put together a mind map on what he knows, or what's unknown, what he's curious about, what he's working on, what he knows for sure, working towards mastery and plan, prepare, execute, and assess using the colors to. This is what he knows about assess, that's what he knows about execute, etc. That's what he knows about prepare and planning. So he's working his way through a very interesting way of mind mapping this out in an integrated way. He knows more now than he knew when he started drawing that out. He knows a lot of important things. Now you can decide which body of knowledge to work on. Should I be working on turning what I know into mastery? Should I be working on the things that I'm in to get to the point where I lock in the baseline journeyman knowledge? Should I be investigating things that I'm curious about? Should I be exploring areas that I know nothing about yet? That's a decision. That is a strategic decision. Boy, is that an interesting picture. I'd go to the chat room and download that for your own use, for inspiration. That's what I'd do. This is, let's see, who is this? Ilker. Grinds out 3.7 in Amazon with some nice shorts in here, and then that reversal long. The second position paid off here. It didn't pay off there. I want you to tell me when you're attending to your kids, because we're going to see in your charts there's some good moves in those times. Grinding. That's the price of kids. I tease. More work on Amazon. This is what I mean while you're working with the kids. Tell me when you're working with the kids, because that is there's a SSC in there and a VWAP cross. Yep. And there's a PSAR flip and a VWAP cross. Tell me when you're attending your kids so I can be alerted to play some of this. Z3 breakout. But good use of simplified graphics. Very clean, clear, concise work. Here's Tim working through Disney for 3.6 in the usual way, just with a single bar or single position, and really nice work on that read and managing his exits carefully. Hamad, very nice tight work here on Intel. Good cut. I like that, taking both shots. I think all of these were probably in the grind. I don't mind you working on that with Intel, because the breakout would be amazing. There just wasn't any, but you were postured for a large payoff and you controlled your risk pretty tight. So I like that. Tesla, I think, on the other hand, probably too much. That thing is so large. I think, like, I do like, let me show you the ones that I really like. I love this one because you got this peak and then you have this valley. So that one I really like, and then I like and therefore I love the re-entry. And I think this may have been late. Like, I might get the 1, 2, 3, and now that's not much of an improvement, but it's a little bit. I do like that stop and reverse too. I think you did nice work in there. I just think some of this may have been premature. I don't know. Yeah. I almost want to let Tesla unfold for 30 minutes, because this feels like you lost 1.6 in the chop, but then once you got about 30 minutes in, man, you were right on time and right on target. Maybe the first 30 minutes is low payoff. Coinbase, I mean, this is on 3 minutes. This is pretty violent moves. But if you're gonna commit to the breakout and then eat that as minus 1.2, then shouldn't we be long here? We got the reversal, got a PSAR flip. That pays that paid. You got to be ready to cash those. And getting short here, and it starts to reverse right away. I don't let it get past the VWAP, to be honest. Especially since I missed this one. And it could do that again. I cut that one right there. And then I try to be long right here with a stop at the PSAR flip. And then you get this. And then at the PSAR flip. If you're going to play Coinbase, maybe you got to be ready for that kind of movement. Here's a COTA 2. I don't think that you're prepared mentally for that kind of volatility because you're missing things that would be consistently part of your plan. Perfect execution. I think you could be short there on when it breaks through the VWAP or breaks through the Bollinger Band main, or not later than this little collapsing dragon. So I think there's 3 places we might have thought about getting short. This one is a clear collapsing dragon here. That's a good cut. SSC, crossing the VWAP, COTA 2, COTA 2 again, COTA 2 again, COTA 2 again. Now that you've seen some information about what it's trying to do, I just feel like you got to be ready to trade that. It's crossed the VWAP. It's broken above the emerging dragon. Even if you don't get this or that, I think you got to hit that. And certainly that. And then, your exit's going to be up in here somewhere. There's a crossing of the Bollinger Band main. You should have a short bias right in here. And then this one, we should be smashing it right there. And then this should exit right there. So short here. Exiting for -1. Short here. Covered there. Let it come all the way through here. Short again here. I feel like we should be short. If you're going to be short, get short of the VWAP. And then this is supposed to fail right away. When it doesn't, okay, getting out there, that's 3 times it didn't fail further. And there's your risk box. That one pays for all of that. And then you have a series of COTA 2s all the way down. As soon as that bends, we can be getting short on that. Now, maybe you're not at this, may be after the fact, and you're not actively looking at the markets for trading. But part of the reason of doing this is to look at the times a day that are giving you the moves that you want, and then adjusting your time schedule to move when you want. Now, something to look at is this distance above the Red River and that crossover. That's telling you that you can get short right here. and that these kata 2s are excellent. All right. Let's see. OR3. Yep. That's still a good reentry. This is not 2R. And we let this after it's already rolled. In fact, that's the signal to exit. Because when that rolls over, we should be exiting here. And cashing that win for about 1R. And then this is not a signal short yet. But that's a kata 2 entry, and that pays off just like it should. Ideally, we could get out here, but that's still pretty good. Now, when this rolls over, now when the RL30 rolls over and the dragon rolls over, we've got an owl entry right about here when it crosses the Bollinger Band mean with an exit here. And then I'm looking for an SSC long, kata 2 long, kata 2 long, kata 2 long. So this time of day when you've stopped trading, on the things that you're tracking, they're showing a lot of opportunity. So you need to be asking yourself, why are you missing those? Are you using alerts? That's a good second position. Maybe we could scratch that, but still not bad. And then after 1, 2, 3 kata 2s, that whole afternoon was there. Reasonable shot, I think. Is it? This thing breaches through here and then starts rolling over. Not sure why we're long there. I mean, I could see being short from here on the collapsing dragon. Oh, and we stopped it. Now, if this is our +1, your maximum favorable excursion is +1 in that direction. And then it doesn't break lower, it doesn't break lower, ends in a doji, and that causes the R10 to reverse. So we should be getting out right here, not here. That should be plus 0.4 instead of minus 0.4. And then good job staying out of the chalk. I like this as an effort, except it's in the last 30 minutes of the day. Why are we trading in the last 30 minutes of the day? We're still suffering up in here. This was a wider range than normal, and it closed near the bottom of the range. That's the first vote to the downside that we talked about yesterday. You know, my concern about this failure to follow through to the upside is starting to be troublesome, and the summer is over, and we got to be preserving those gains. That's why you saw me take a couple positions overnight on the short side. Yeah, and you can see today's price action. Now, if you're looking at the 30 minutes on the S&P, you got to be able to see this, that it gapped up to here and then spent the whole day in this downward slide. And that should give you a market bias for the intraday trade to exploit the short side. Now it's come back and is holding right at those crucial support levels. If that breaks, here's the next target. If 452.21 breaks, it's coming to here, to the 10-day low. If 448 breaks, look out below. If it breaks above, here, this is good. If it breaks above the peak of that VWAP, that's good. If it breaks above the 30-day high, that's good. So to me, that's the congestion zone for tomorrow. But I will be short like a monster right there. Still bullish, quiet, showing some weakness creeping in. The 10-day has moved out of the green into the white. The 2-day has moved into the yellow. Volatility is rolling over, beginning to show some weaknesses. Defensive plays continue to thrive. In the ETFs, gold, real estate, and treasuries were the winners. More defensive plays. Cisco, Walmart, and Walgreens still reasonable reward to risks. Diamonds are in a squeeze. That's good. We've got, yesterday almost everything was in the summer. Today, this extra little piece of weakness has given us a whole bunch of fall. These two are low on the MACD Z-score and in the fall, and they're getting weaker. Whereas like Johnson & Johnson is supremely strong. Here's the concern. These guys have all been exceptionally strong. They are above the Red River. So here's what that looks like. So they are all in the fall, but they are north of the Red River, which is, if we were to cut that, this would be +1, 0, -1 on the MACD histogram, and they are all at about 1.5, but they have now rolled into the fall. So this is abnormal goodness, but officially stalling and getting weak. Got to be concerned about that. So be ready for a shift in the market tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow, as Thursday, is going to be very interesting. Some serious weakness creeping in, mostly defensive plays in the green. You got regional banks, oil, Europe, gold, finance, real estate, and treasuries. All defensive plays. And this is the first sign of red that we've seen since here and since here. Otherwise, this has been a really strong upward move. with just 1 day of weakness. So if the strength that caused those two up moves is still there, then this should be going up tomorrow and Friday. And that's why any break below today's low, which is about where we closed, is an indication that this is now going to roll over at plus 2Z and is going to come back to the mean. This is all rolling over. We've talked about this for 3 days. I'm not going to beat that horse anymore, but we've been told. Looking at the RL30 slopes over the last 10 years, when it gets above that Z plus 1, what does it do? Short-term fails. Doesn't always come all the way back, but you tell me. This has been an extraordinarily good run from -1 to plus 1.5. This 10-day, the slope of the RL10, short-term weakness. Long-term, just beginning to feel confident, just got back to the -1Z, which means that it's still remembered, oh, that was really horrible. And the all-important RL30 slope is starting to peak. You know, batten the hatches. Be ready for tomorrow's weakness. And I'm just treating that like I would any other compound critical state where I'm in a zero state, where the previous move has been really strong and has now rolled back into here, and it has not had panic selling yet, but if it breaks below today's low, that is more likely than this. But I'm ready to go either direction on Tactical Thursday. Coming right back to the edge of the river. Enough said. This is the most important chart, as we've said before. All right, fellas, that's all we got for today. We'll get this published and posted. Oh, that's the last page of the daily report, too. The most important one. I should start leading with that, huh? All right, take good care, fellas.